So before we start burning broom patterns and actually getting out and doing sweeping, it's a good idea to do some final checks of the sweeper. You want to raise the hopper up in the air and just take a look at all the components that are underneath it. On the M4HSD, when you raise the hopper up in the air, you do have body props that we need to install before we actually start reaching or doing anything underneath the hopper. Those props are located right on the side at these brackets. You just want to pull them out and slide them into the channel where the hopper actually raises and lowers. So we want to make sure that they're installed before you do any type of inspections or anything underneath the hopper. With the hopper in the raised position, we're just doing a visual of all the hoses, any filters that we can see from here, checking for any type of leaks or excessive debris that may have been built up over time and hasn't been cleaned out. Then we want to take a look at our elevator system, okay? And just kind of look at all the major components that are going on in the elevator and make sure that everything looks good and is ready to go before we sweep. So what we're looking for is our elevator belts. We have one set of belts on each side of the elevator system. They're rubber, Kevlar infused with 8-braided stainless steel cables in them. We want to check and see if there's any type of tears or imperfections in them and make sure that they look solid all the way throughout. You want to check for belt tension on these. So what you're looking for is a little bit of play in that belt. Basically, if you grab the belt in the middle and you start pushing or pulling against it, you want about 2 inches of play in that. What you're looking for is that with the machine turned off and the belts in a neutral position, you want your flights to be off of that back wall a little bit. Okay, you don't want them touching, otherwise they might be too loose at that point. So you can always, if you think your belts are too loose, take it into the shop and do a tension adjustment in the shop there. Other things to look for when you're back here are the rubbers on your squeegees. You want to notice and see if there's any type of uneven wear, rippling effect, or bends in that squeegee. That's another sign that your belts might be too loose and rubbing prematurely on that elevator wall. And then also check and make sure that there's not excessive play in the cups where the elevator flights are mounted to the belts. Those nuts will come loose from time to time, and you want to make sure that you get a wrench and tighten them up as needed. Same thing with the studs that are coming out of the belts and holding those cups on there too. We don't want any excessive play because they will prematurely wear and damage those belts. We're going to do a visual inspection of our sprockets, and we're going to check and make sure that they're free and clear of any debris to start the day. We're looking for things like buildup of rock, sand, and gravel in there. Also things like rope, wire, cables, anything that may have become wrapped up in there. And if they are, we want to remove those before we start sweeping, because that can lead to premature wear or failure of our belts or damaging the sprockets. And then lastly, while it's up, take a look at your aluminum flights. You want to make sure that those are looking nice and straight all the way across. It is possible as you're sweeping and picking up, you may not notice things like larger rocks or pieces of brick or concrete that may be in, say, a pile of leaves. You pick those up, it's possible to damage or bend one of those flights. If you do notice that you have a aluminum flight that is bent or damaged, we want to remove that one flight before we go out and do any sweeping, because that can also lead to premature failure of your elevator system.